You know what we should do? Let's do a comparison between this highly modded Jet JS400 versus the stock Fender Player HSS Stratocaster. Why would we do this? I have no idea. But let's just do it anyway, see what happens. So, is it worth modding an affordable guitar? Can you make it better than the real deal? As no one on YouTube has ever made a video about this topic before, I thought I better do something about this. And you know what? Just for fun, while we're at it, let's give them scores too. Because why not? Before we get right into it, just one last thing I want to mention. One of the mods I did to the Jet was change the single coils to a Fender Player set. So both guitars have the exact same pickups, in the neck and middle. So I'll sprinkle in some tone comparisons as we go. Right, let's get to it. I'm going to try and get through these quickly. Let's do it. Number 1. Headstock. The Fender has the classic headstock that you can't argue with. It's pretty much universally accepted that this iconic design is a pretty good one. The Jet headstock, pretty much like every other Strat-like guitar, just misses the mark. Fender scores the first point. Number 2, nuts. The first mod to mention is I've replaced the nut with a Graphtech Tusk XL nut. Originally it was a bone nut, but in both cases both materials are better than Fender's stock plastic nut. That's a point for the Jet. Number 3, tuners. The stock tuners on the Jet were not great. So I've upgraded with this set of Vanson locking tuners, which is a drop-in replacement set, which cost around £35, and they're pretty good quality tuners for the price. I'll put a link in the description, and if you fancy getting yourself a set, then the channel might get a couple of pence commission. Woohoo! So yeah, like I say, these locking tuners are pretty great. They're definitely an upgrade over the stock Jet ones, but they're also an upgrade over the Fender stock ones, so gonna have to give the point to Jet. Better locking tuners. Number 4, string tree. I'll have to put some pictures up for this part. I've upgraded the Jet with a Graphtech Tusk XL string tree, which is a self-lubricating and serious upgrade over the Fender Player tree, which isn't just the lowest quality one available, the butterfly design, but it doesn't even have the spacer to make the break angle less extreme. Even the stock Jet tree had one. That's a pretty poor show from Fender. And another point for the modded Jet. Number 5, neck, fretboard and frets. I've kind of lumped 3 into one here. So no mods here, this is just how the necks come as is. Both necks are almost identical in spec, both got the modern C-shape, 9.5 inch radius, black dot inlays, both have 22 medium jumbo frets, but the Jet is rocking a Canadian roasted maple neck and fretboard. It's a 2-piece neck. The Fender seems to be 1-piece maple with the skunk stripe on the back. You could probably argue that the Jet has better materials and the Fender has better construction. And just a bit of FYI, if you get a stock Jet, you're going to have to polish them frets pretty much once you get out of the box.
Mr. Sheen shines up teen, things clean.
Or play them out. They're a bit grindy to start with. The fretwork and fret ends are pretty much identical, but the Jet has slightly rounded fretboard edges, which just feel better. So overall, without the mods, I reckon the Jet has the better neck. Also, just look at the figuring on this Jet fretboard. I mean, I got pretty lucky. I'll put some close-ups so you can see. Look at that. Ho ho! Nice. Flamey. And obviously that can vary wildly from unit to unit. Jet wins again, and that's without mods. Number 6. The neck heel joint. I'll just let the images explain. I'll put them on screen now. Look at that. I go into a lot more detail about these specs in the Fender versus Jet stock comparison video, so please do check that out. Links in the description. And everyone knows it's impossible to play anything good on the guitar with this big old Fender heel block. But that's another point to Jet, and again, that's without any mods. Number 7. Body material. So this is almost the entire point when modding a guitar. You've got to start with some good bare bones. Jet have opted for basswood, so I suppose you'd have to decide how much of an important spec that is for you. Tonewood alert! But it has to be said, basswood has pretty much been the main choice for Ibanez guitars for a few decades. But anyway, Fender are giving you the tried and tested alder body. Whatever side of the tonewood fence you're on, I can't argue that alder isn't the more appropriate choice for a Strat style guitar. So that's definitely a point for Fender. And oh boy, did they need a point. Number 8. Contouring. The Jet has this wee extra cutout contour at the back of the lower horn. Does that make a difference to the playability and the upper fret access? Not really. Maybe a wee bit. It's hardly worth mentioning, but I just did. Well, they've put it in there, and combined with the neck heel access, I think it does offer a little bit more comfort. So that's another point to Jet, just for the effort. It should also be noted that Fender seem to think this is a good idea as well, because they offer this feature on their premium Ultralux guitars, which costs around £2,000. Ho ho ho! Yeesh. Number 9. Pickguards and Plastics. The Jet came stock with an aged cream pickguard which didn't look very nice. I've managed to change it for a white one, I'll tell you more about that in a minute. The Jet one was actually a little bit similar to what's on this Tidepool one. This is kind of also like an off-white, maybe parchment, but the Jet one was much more yellow, pinky, bleh. And it also didn't match the knobs or the pickup covers, which were an even darker cream. It was a mess. So some people in the comment sections of previous videos have noticed that I've changed a few Jet pickguards, and I've asked where you get them, because the Fender fitting ones and third party ones, they won't fit, the screws won't line up and the shape's just a little bit different. So your options are getting one custom made, where you would have to take your existing pickguard, send it away, get it traced, it would get cut out for you and sent back in whatever finish you choose. This would probably in the UK cost you around £35 to £40, probably closer to £40. There's a guy in Glasgow who has an eBay store who offers this service, and I've used these services before and it's been very good, although the prices have went up. If I can find it, I'll put a link in the description. Other options for changing pickguards are buying lots of Jets and Fazleys and swapping them. And I should note that that's only the Fazley Finica models that are now discontinued that will fit, that I know about. So for example, the Fazley Finica FSST 720 in Sunburst only came with a white guard, whereas all the rest come with cream. The 820 came with a white perloid guard. It's a minefield. Or the Jet JS400 in Sunburst and black only come with a torque guard. And that's pretty much the only reason I bought this guitar, was to get the torque guard off it. Most expensive pickguard purchase ever. That's easy for you to say. Most expensive pickguard purchase ever. Luckily for me, the Fazley Finicas before they got discontinued, they were blowing out the Sunburst ones for about £55, and I have a few pals that got them, and they were all keen to swap for the cream guards, because they look better on the Sunburst, and the white ones look better on everything else. So anyway, this is quite a subjective one. Personally, I think that the white pickguard on this Jet looks better than the off-white pickguard on the Fender, but different strokes for different folks and all that jazz. But either way, you're going to have a harder time getting a replacement pickguard for a Jet than you are a Fender, because you can pretty much get anything you want for a Fender. It's pretty much a universal fit. Point to Fender. Let's get a listen to those bridge pickups. So the player is an Alnico 2 Fender Player Series humbucker, that's what it's called. And in the Jet, I've changed the bridge pickup to a GFS Dream 180, which is a little bit like a dual P90. So this part is just personal taste. Let's see how they compare. Number 10. Pickups. So I've already heard some examples throughout. I'm just going to say that it's a tie. As I mentioned before, I've upgraded the Jet pickups with the neck and middle pickups from a Fender Player Strat, so these literally have the same pickups. The only difference are the humbuckers and the bridge. So we've got the Fender one versus this GFS one. Personally, I prefer the sound of the GFS one, but this is going to be quite subjective, so like I say, we're calling it a tie. Alright? So the neck and middle pickups, I pretty much love these pickups, and I think they sound almost identical. It's pretty close, but there are a lot of different factors that could play a part in making it sound a bit different. The nut material, the body wood, the pickup height, the pop value tolerance, it's endless. But in a mix or a band situation, I definitely wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Number 11. Switching and controls. The Fender has the standard 5-way switching you would expect on a Strat, albeit with the humbucker and the bridge. With the Jet, I've got a couple of things going on. At the moment, I've got a push-pull pot that I'm not happy about in the volume, and that is going to be turning the neck on and off, which brings the neck pickup into positions 1 and 2. And I've got a switch here to coil split the humbucker. Currently, we've got a master tone which controls all 3 pickups, but in the future, I'm going to get that changed to control just the bridge. And get this volume pot changed to a push-push rather than a push-pull. Push-push is better. And for gigs, I use almost all of these settings except for probably just the middle pickup, which I should try and use more. So anyway, the modded Jet absolutely smashes the Fender when it comes to the switching. Another easy point for Jet. Number 12, the Trem system. Technically Vibrato, but anyway. When I did the video comparison of these two guitars in their stock conditions, I perhaps controversially mentioned that I think the stock Trem on the Jet was better. In that video I go into much more detail about that, but I still upgraded the Jet Trem anyway, to the awesome Gotoh 510 unit. But interestingly, it wasn't even that much of an upgrade, but I'm still glad I did it. It feels great, it's so smooth. So the modded Jet has a far superior Trem to the Fender, although I think the stock Trem was already better. Obviously another point for the modded Jet. Number 13, Jack Socket. Again, that's an upgrade on the Jet. I've upgraded it to a PureTone Jack Socket, which has 4 points of solid contact, super robust, probably the best Jack Socket you could get, and they only cost like about £5 to £10. If you're a gigging guitarist, could be an essential mod. I'll put a link in the description if I can find one. Another point for the Jet. Number 14, resale value. So for a lot of people, this is what it will all come down to. Depending on the guitar brand and the mods you've done, you could either increase or decrease the value. The better the brand name and the more mods you've done, the more likely you are to decrease the value. It doesn't really matter what mods you do, but you can guarantee that you'll never get back what you've put into it. And of course, Fender is going to have the better resale value. The Fender name is always going to be that aspirational brand for players to own. So that's an obvious point for the Fender. And the final category, number 15, price. So if you see the video where this guitar gets modded, I do a breakdown of all the costs and all the parts, and all in all this guitar cost me £323.76. But with that I did get some deals and I bought some used parts, like the pickups for example. If you could do some or all of the mods yourself, then you're on to a winner. I paid my local guitar tech, shout out to Rod Vaughan at RV Guitar Repairs, to do all the mods for me, because this is my main gigging guitar. That's right, I don't gig my USA Fender Strat anymore. Basically because I wanted it all done quick and I wanted it done right. Then I could spend more time focused on making these videos. This Fender Player HSS Stratocaster will set you back between $629 and $699 depending on retailer, or $739 if you want to buy from Fender direct. So you could say that this Fender cost around £330 more, but it's not even a fair comparison anymore, because this modded Jet JS400 absolutely wipes the floor with this Fender Player Strat now, in my opinion. So for me, it outperforms the Fender, but one of the best things about it is that it's not that expensive. So I absolutely love gigging this thing because I don't mind if it takes a few dings or knocks. I won't lose too much sleep over it, you know? So that's another point for the modded Jet.
Well, and that leads us now to say, what are the scores George Dawes?
No, thank you. The scores are...
What more can I say? Here's Jets!
So in summary, what have we learned? Well, probably nothing, other than another dafty on YouTube mods a cheap Strat and thinks it's great. But the question is, would you consider doing something similar? Let me know in the comments. Maybe you do it different. You'd get a cheap Squire or Harley Benton and make it HSH with active pickups and a hardtail bridge. Or just have a single humbucker in the bridge, like that Wink 184 guy. Or scallop the fretboard, Craig Stamen, or have it HH with a black anodized pickguard. You get the idea. There's loads of possibilities. So what mods would you do? Let me know in the comments. Or do you prefer to not have any fuss? You'd rather just buy a good guitar off the shelf and use it as is. And to be fair, that's a pretty solid argument for buying the Fender Player. Anyway, hopefully that was something. If you liked the video, please do consider proving that and hitting the old thumbs up, giving it a wee like. That apparently lets YouTube know that I'm doing something worthwhile, and then they like give me loads of presents for Christmas or something. I think that's how it works. Rumour has it that every time someone subscribes to the channel, your least favourite guitarist breaks a string. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel and you would like to be, and you're not sure how, then what you do is you just click on this white icon right here, this wee Steve Cassidy guitar, give it a wee click subscribe, and you are subscribed to the channel. Thank you for doing that. Cheers! That means a lot. Okay, thanks for watching. Until next time, see you later!